on the meeting last week, 2 weeks ago, that the board held attempting to make some of these budget reductions toward the $3.7 million shortfall, we wanted to review with the board actions that we believe were taken to cut a little over $3 million. So we're very close to our needed goal and savings. Some of these are one-time, some of these are ongoing, but I wanted to review those very quickly first and then move on to discussion for this evening. First of all, we talked about the savings from the ending balance. That's one-time money of $500,000. The restricted mandated cost reserve, one-time money of $650,000. Routine maintenance and repair, one-time money of $500,000. Redevelopment agency resources, $400,000, one-time money. Consolidation of schools, $400,000, ongoing money. Secondary clerical staffing to district ratio until something is returned here, that's ongoing. That's $150,000. Custodial reductions of 2 additional positions are $100,000, ongoing money. Elementary library clerks, reduction of 4 positions are ongoing money of $80,000. The district office of $298,000 that we brought to you, $220,000 we consider to be approved. Therefore, that's ongoing money until that's changed. And then also walk-on coaches stipends. This was something that we talked about, that even though you're not making a reduction, you are in fact recognizing the fact that the $7,000 is going to be applied toward the $3.7 million shortfall. So it's not a reduction you have to make, it's business as usual. However, again, it's a recognition that this is going toward the $3.7 million. Now, on this evening, what you have before you is that we have $693,000 left to reduce, either through a savings or through budget reductions. And I wanted to review those and hone in on one of the items specifically. First of all, class size reduction in kindergarten is, if the board were to make this decision, is an ongoing savings of $160,000. Again, that's going from 20 to 1 up to 30 to 1 students in each kindergarten classroom. The district office clerical is $30,000. That's the 4 executive secretary positions. And then also the reassignment of the district office middle manager is moving back into the unit is $40,000. Special education is $460,000. And finally, closing the 2 pools for a partial year was $100,000, which included not only staff time, because right now we don't have a pool maintenance person, we have not been able to hire someone, but it also includes the chemicals and the power and those types of things. And this is through a dialogue with the leadership of the 2 high schools. So we provided you a little more information about the pools, but I'd like to focus this evening on special education and be very clear about what this reduction looks like. First of all, for the $460,000, there were 4 components to that. The first one was staffing ratio with some of our resource teachers. There was a savings of about $140,000 staffing to the ratio. As was shared earlier, we believe that right now, based on the number of students being served, that we can save 2 positions in special education. And Jay can give further details if you need additional information on that. But just staffing to the ratio next year, we should automatically save $140,000. The same thing with, I'm sorry, it's two teaching positions. 2 teaching positions. That's the next item, and that's going to be instructional aides. That's about $115,000. That's instructional aides and paraeducators. We believe that, again, that based on the instructional programs that are written for students, that again, we are a little rich in our staffing, and therefore we do have some open positions that we will not fill for next year to be able to get a portion of the savings. This again is staffing to ratio, and this would automatically be done as we get ready to build the budget for next year. Also, we talked about having our instructional aides.
We have a total of 10 instructional aides who would have a reduction in daily hours. And we have 1 paraeducator because we're overstaffed at one of the Walsh classrooms by 1 extra paraeducator. Be a total of 11 classified positions.
So we have one position being eliminated, and we have cutting of hours on 10 other positions.
That is correct.
And by cutting those hours, will it also put the instructional aides without health benefits?
That depends on the individual. We're cutting as little as 30 minutes on some of the instructional aides or more, so it's dependent on the number of hours they currently work.
The Director of Special Education is going to be managing hands-on the summer school program. It saves us about $7,000 to $8,000 that we've spent historically. And finally is the $200,000. There was a lot of confusion over that information as Jay and I presented it to you at the last meeting, so I need to clarify. That this $200,000 right now, as we have our process of stopping our spending, we shut our spending down in the middle of March, we began to analyze how much money we believed was going to be unspent on our current contracts. This was not preschool speech. This was some speech contracts. It was other kinds of contracts in special education. We are not going to spend the money. It's not a spin on taking things away. It's not. The money's not going to be spent. And so consequently, based on these contracts, sometimes these students have not attended these NPSs and we don't have to pay all of the tuition. That's the kind of thing that these resources are coming from, this $200,000. This money is going to now be in your ending balance. Your encroachment will drop by that $200,000. So you do not have to make a cut. You don't have to cancel contracts. This is going to happen at the end of this year. It's our very best guess, so you don't have to make these reductions. So this special education, $460,000, is staffing to ratio for your certificated and for some of your classified staff. It is also the summer school program with your Director of Special Education. And finally, $200,000 that's just going to fall out of these contracts because we're not going to spend it by the end of the year. So you really are going to be recognizing action that's going to be taken to the tune of $460,000 against the $3.7 million for next year. Part of it out of this year and part of it for next year. And so we just wanted to clarify that. You don't have to take action on this, but we had brought it before you so that you can recognize that you do not have to cut an additional $460,000 in next year or even at the end of this year, because we have those resources available to complement the special